This sucks. I hate seeing this stuff, you know? So, we had ourselves what was a few injuries that I wanted to discuss over here on the channel to some of the top guys that Wild and Kings fans were looking forward to seeing either in this season or pretty much just in the preseason only if they weren't projecting these players to making the team, and of course into the long-term future. Let's talk today about Matt Boldy and Quinton Byfield, starting off with Boldy because this kind of thing, talking about Jack Eichel, is really funny. So, we had ourselves what was a really bad Matt Boldy injury in the game against Chicago on Thursday. What happened was Boldy was heading into the corner, you see him trying to fight for the puck, it kind of escapes over to the side, and as he spins, he kind of gets tangled up a little bit because another Blackhawk on the side was kind of getting pinned to the boards by another Wild player, which caused Boldy's left leg to spin in a bad way. He fell to the ice, and we were initially expecting, oh, ACL, sprained knee, whatever, it's going to be a long freaking time for Boldy. Well, the good news is it's not as bad as we thought it would be, but the bad news is it's still kind of bad. This was the update over here yesterday. The Wild have announced that prospect Matt Boldy is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks with a fractured left ankle. It's better news than we initially expected, but he got 2 different scans done yesterday. Now that in itself is kind of an obstacle to anybody who is going out there and asking, okay, what's the plan for Matt Boldy this season? We had discussed Boldy literally just a few videos ago, talking about how Adam Beckman is the most underrated Wild prospect. Go ahead, check that video out if you had not seen it yet. But Matt Boldy, 20 years old, 6'2", 194, who had played with the Iowa Wild last season after signing over from the Boston College system, was really gosh darn good. This season, though, he was maybe even going to be challenging for a roster spot. But if he hadn't been, that would have been alright too. If he wasn't good enough to play on the regular Wild team, nobody in Wild Nation was going to be upset about that because it would just mean there would be more dominance for this guy to display at the AHL level. That's going to get slowed down now. 4 to 6 weeks is the timeline of recovery over here, but we also had another update that I thought was funny enough to mention, and it's kind of why I'm making this entire video over here. Bill Guerin said that prospect Matt Boldy was having one more image yesterday, on his ankle. And then, after that image, it will be determined if he will have surgery or if he will just rehab naturally. It's going to be up to him, Guerin said. We can recommend both one or the other, but he's going to decide what to do. So, the Wild are going out here and they're saying, yeah, okay, he's got options. We're going to do some more imaging on his ankle, and upon learning what's going on with his body, we're going to think about it and we're going to say, okay, based off of what we're seeing, we think you should probably do rehab, or we think you should do a surgery instead. We think you should do one or the other. We'll give you our opinion, Boldy, but ultimately, it's your choice. You're going to do what you want, and we're going to be on for it. And all the replies to this tweet were very particular, because it was kind of like, where have we had another NHL team go out there with a player that is of considerable status amongst the fans have an injury that the team and the player are divided in what the player is going to be allowed to do? Even Frank Saravelli quote-tweeted this tweet, and he had the little thinking emoji. That's kind of what I get when I see this emoji here. What's going on? Buffalo, buddy. Take notes. I know it's easy to meme about it because, the Buffalo Sabres not allowing Jack Eichel to do the surgery that he wants, and I know that there have been people that have been on my behind saying, Lego, you're uninformed, you're not doing research about this stuff. I get it. It's a little bit different, the ankle surgery versus rehab versus the Jack Eichel situation where it's like, okay, he's got a herniated disc. He wants to replace it with an artificial one. The Buffalo Sabres want him to get fusion surgery done. There are pros and cons to both sides, and a lot of people got pissed off at me because I hadn't really explained the pros of the fusion surgery and the cons of the herniated disc replacement surgery instead, but that's whatever. I get it, people are gonna be comparing these, but it's not really the same. I'm just kind of having fun here. People are just memeing. They're having fun, saying that it's kind of the same. Look at the top comment. Take notes, Buffalo. Everybody's liking it, and then people are kind of coming to the defense of it. Take a look at this reply. A GM giving the player the option to choose his own treatment? What blasphemy! Who would do that in the NHL? I just thought that was funny to bring up, so it's why we talked about it here on the channel. But for Matt Boldy, of course, in all seriousness, memes aside, hopefully he gets better, whatever he chooses. Hopefully his doctors, the parties within the Minnesota Wild that have health authoritative says in the matter over there, hopefully you guys make the right decision, and we're wishing for a speedy recovery. There also is another player, though, that we are wishing a speedy recovery to as well when it comes to a left ankle fracture. Quinton Byfield out of the LA Kings against the Arizona Coyotes. He had a play where Christian Fischer hit him into the boards, and as he got hit, he was still moving forward, so his body was propelled in another direction. His toe kind of got caught on the little lip, and it rotated in a very unfortunate way. Byfield was still moving, and the leg didn't move with him, causing a weird little rotation there, which he was down and out from. Eventually, it was a left ankle fracture, which is the exact same injury that Matt Boldy has. However, unlike Boldy, at the time of recording this video, we have not had any updates as to Byfield in the same way that we have had with Boldy. LA Kings forward Byfield suffered a left ankle fracture in last night's game against the Coyotes. This is from October 6th. He will be out indefinitely. He's been placed on the injury reserve and will be reevaluated in the coming weeks. So for Byfield, we don't really have a set timeline for him, unlike Matt Boldy, but Byfield was a lot more of an interesting one when you take a look at what exactly the LA Kings are losing out on here, because there was a lot of sentiment amongst the fan base as to whether or not Byfield would even make the team. Byfield was, at his best, one of the most intriguing prospects the NHL has seen in a very long time, and he's got such a high ceiling that a lot of Kings fans were kind of thinking, okay, we know he's ready, we know he is able to play at the NHL level, it's just, would it be worth it to play him in the NHL in a bottom six role, where you have Vilardi, and you have Kopitar, and you have Deneau all above him in a depth chart? It would be difficult to justify playing Byfield 7-8 minutes a night on the fourth line with the way that he plays, because Byfield, even though he's a big behemoth of a man, this is not the kind of guy that you play on your fourth line because you give him a fourth line role. You give him an opportunity to succeed and showcase what exactly it is that makes him great. So it was always a pretty big debate amongst the Kings fan base as to where Byfield would play. NHL, give him bottom 6 minutes, or give him the keys to the car in Ontario. Not Ontario, Canada, but the Ontario Reign. It's in California, by the way. Give him the keys to the car and allow him to be the best player on that team. It was a debate as to where he would play, because in the preseason, it's not like he played particularly poorly either. It's just a matter of circumstance with the team and who else they have on the center position. However, now that is out of the question, because we're not going to see Byfield playing. Probably when he comes back, he'll likely start out in the AHL just to get his feet moving again. I'd be really surprised if they looked at Quinton Byfield after recovering from this ankle fracture and say, okay, NHL, go right away, because the problems that you had with Byfield and deployment are still going to be there. It's just there's an added layer of insecurity because he's coming back from an injury and he's 19 years old. There's no reason to go out there and rush Quinton Byfield, of all people, into the National Hockey League. Plus, I know this is a trivial kind of point to make, but if a lot of people are going out there saying, oh, I really want Byfield to win the Calder, you're not going to win the Calder if you play on the fourth line. That's just kind of how it goes. Calder is a points race at the end of the day, and if you really want this guy to go out there and win that trophy, he's going to have to be in the middle six at minimum. Second power play at minimum, lighting the league up and being if you take a look at the previous Calder winners, Kaprizov, just under point per game guy. Elias Pettersson, just under point per game guy. Kel McCarr, just under a point per game guy. He's going to need to be in that range. So, for Kings fans, talk to me in the comments. What do you think about Quinton Byfield and the unfortunate injury he has sustained to his left ankle? It is a fracture. Wild fans, talk to me about Matthew Boldy and his left ankle fracture too. Not to mention the jab thrown by hockey fans and Frank Saravalli alluding to the Buffalo Sabres and Jack Eichel. Before anybody goes out there and flames me in the comments, I'm not being super serious with these videos, okay? I'm just kind of joking around. We're having fun here. Do you not like fun? Are you allergic to people having a little jab at something that is clearly beyond our control? Either way, talk to me in the comments. What do you think about Boldy? What do you think about Byfield as well? The surgeries and their timelines. Where do they play when they return? How exactly should they proceed with the rest of 2021-2022? Let me know in the comments all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. Rolls 99. And bye.